Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this new show of Cianciana Piazza Virtuale, these virtual meetings that take place under the virtual shadow of our clock tower. Uh, Myself is Vito Candiloro, talking to you from Madrid, and today we are meeting another fellow citizen, a newcomer who decided to move to Cianciana to start a new life here within the Sicilian hills and mountains and to enjoy our community. Today we are meeting someone. We are meeting a woman, Claire, who decided to move to Cianciana not only to live, but also and foremostly to start a new business. And we will talk about this challenge during our show. So before let her join us at the show, I invite you, if you like, to participate with your comments, with your posts in the live show itself here on Facebook. So without any further stops, let's enjoy and welcome Claire Thompson to Cianciana Piazza Virtuale. Ciao Claire, nice to see you.
Rita.
Nice to see you, Claire, and thanks for joining me, for joining us here at Cianciana Piazza Virtuale. So just to start our conversation, the questions that I would give you if I met in Cianciana. Where do you come from, and when did you arrive in town?
Okay. Originally, I was born in Birmingham in the UK, but for the last 20 plus years, I lived in Lancashire, which was in the north of England. And I arrived for the first time in Cianciana in 2019 in the November to actually look at properties, but we moved here September last year.
Okay, and how was Cianciana at first sight? Which were your first impressions when you first arrived here?
It was actually very wet. It was November, and I think it was about midnight when I arrived. So driving into Cianciana, it was lit up and it was stunning, because all you saw was this beautiful town on the top of the mountain with all the lights on. It was beautiful. It couldn't have been a better welcome out of the rain that we just
You arrived in November, right? Yeah. So how was the weather like at that time? Because it's not the best moment to arrive to Sicily, I guess.
No, it was, some bits were very wet, and some bits I was in a t-shirt, so it varied a bit. But when it rained, boy, did it rain.
Okay. So in that sense, my first question, just going a little bit deeper into our conversation, is just to ask you, when did you decide to make the move, saying to yourself, it's time to move to Sicily?
Okay, that's an easy one. It was I was actually in a swimming pool in Greece, and I suddenly realised that I wanted a completely different outlook. So from that moment in the swimming pool, I decided that was it, and it was either going to be Greece or Sicily. But I'm slightly biased because my stepson is in Sicily, so it was a no-brainer. And from that moment in 2019, in about the August time, 2019, plans were made, and I was here for the first time in the November. So it all happened quite quickly once the decision was made. It was just time to leave the UK and do something different. It really was as simple as that.
Okay. So between Greece and Italy and Sicily, Italy won because specifically because of your stepson and of course because the two situations could suit your desires in that sense.
Yeah.
So now that you moved, you haven't arrived a long time ago. Just offline, you were saying to me that it's since end of last year that you arrived, right? Okay. So up to now, which is and how is your relationship with the people of Cianciana?
I've been made so welcome. It's been wonderful. People have just appeared when I've needed them and pointed me in the right direction. They've helped me with things. They've been very patient with my very poor Italian. And they've just been wonderful. I couldn't have asked for a better welcome. Really couldn't.
And how different is the atmosphere in Cianciana from the place where you come from?
I was actually living in a really small village in the UK. So this is, although it's a small town, it's actually much bigger than where I used to live. It's more built up. But of course, the house and the business are going to be just out of town. So probably where I'm going to be is more like where I came from.
Okay.
It's being in town is a little bit different for me, but it's lovely just to be able to get up in the morning and walk down for bread every day, and everything's close by, and yeah, it's beautiful.
Yeah, you know that Sicilian villages, not only Cianciana, but in particular Cianciana, it's built up on a hill, and all houses are one beside the other. Just in a very small area, there is a lot of houses and buildings, and it is because of the origins, because the village itself in Sicily was made in an upper place to avoid any diseases such as malaria that was very common among farmers. I'm talking about a few centuries ago. So the houses were put all together. We say as a joke, just to in order to be stable and not to fall down, because at that time they weren't so stable. So this is why you see many villages in Sicily which are very populated, and there is countryside around.
Yeah, getting used to the houses when I was looking for them when I came in the November 2019. It was quite unusual to see the houses stacked. So you had 3 rooms. So you'd have a single room downstairs, then you went up a floor, upper floor. That is just nothing like the UK at all.
Yeah, sure. And if you notice, there is no backyard or any space, green space around the house. It's just the building itself and the road, and that is very common in Italy in general, but specifically in Sicily. And now that you moved, this question is quite existentialist from my perspective, but still, I like to give this question to my guests, especially if they come from abroad. Which is the best and the worst part of living in Cianciana up to now, of course?
I probably have to be careful with this one. The best bit for me is the community. The whole feel that you're looked after, you're cared for, people have got your back. They'll tell you if you're wrong, they'll tell you if you're right. Either way, you've got support there. But the worst bit for me has got to be the red tape. Trying to do basic things like register your car, change your driving license, get planning permission, all those things. If you have the expectation they're going to move quickly, you're going to be very disappointed. So it took a lot of patience and a lot of taking a breath and just going, tomorrow we'll do it. Because initially it was a nightmare, but gradually you realise that it will happen, but just not at your speed, and you have to go with that flow, and you have to go with the Sicilian speed, not your own, because otherwise you'd go mad. But everything happens. It's just slowly. So
you need to, in that sense, to strengthen, to reinforce your passions, to reinforce your resilience, because it's not easy, especially with the Italian bureaucracy, to get through. But it's also part, I think, of the same idiosyncrasy of this this population, and it's part of the beauty. How to say? Well, should be better if it was a little bit more agile, more easy to go through, but still it's a part of living here. So we are talking with Claire Thompson, coming from Birmingham, right? You're coming from UK, and at the beginning of this show I was referring that you, Claire, didn't come to Cianciana only to live, but also to start a new business, a new activity, which is called Mozzafiato, breathtaking in English. Yes. So let's talk to us a little bit about this new activity. What's all about?
Okay, I'll give you a little bit of background, just so it makes sense, if I can, Vito. I was a massage therapist in the UK, so I took a holistic approach to life. Really, it became a lifestyle. So when I bought the land here, it made sense to do a similar sort of thing and actually create a lifestyle and a business as one. So the land itself is agricultural land. So it's really necessary to create an agricultural business. Simple as that. So I created the Barefoot Farmer. So it's going to be a farming business initially. So it's creating a natural way of re-energizing the earth again, because that particular earth hasn't been used for a long time. So it is about re-energizing it and putting some love and attention back into it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, making things grow again. So we are planting at the moment fruit trees, because we're waiting for the planning permission. We're doing what we can on the land. So we've cleared the land. We've taken some trees down that were dead, but we've replaced them with a whole load of new ones just this last 2 days. Hence, I'm a little bit red because I caught the sun. And it's growing vegetables. It's fruit trees. So a proper farming business over time. I've got a lot to learn, but it's getting there step by step. And on top of that, we're going to put up initially an eco house. So just a very simple eco house for people to come and stay. They can either just come and just take in Cianciana and the rest of Sicily, or they can actually come and work with me on the land if that's what they'd like to do, and obviously utilize the food that we're growing in the cabin. They can do that. Or what would be lovely is to also integrate them into the community, because we've got so many talented people in Cianciana who are so creative. We've got artists, we've got musicians, just phenomenal people. So for them to have experiences while they're here in Cianciana with those people would be wonderful. We've got the nature reserve next door that they can go to, and they can go horse riding, or they can actually, go and walk around the land, go up into the forest. And at the minute we're going out for the wild asparagus. So that's been quite fun this week. We've done that. So it's just trying to bring people in and integrate them into the Sicilian lifestyle, even if it's just for a week. just so they can experience the quiet, the calm, the sunshine, and just make it a real good experience for people. First and foremost, it's a home, but to have the business on top of that, it's just perfect.
In a nutshell, it seems that it's an experience that you are proposing to people, just to come to a different world, not only an hotel or a farm, but just to enjoy the experience of being in Sicily inside a specific property, of course, but enjoying the whole of the experience, the whole of the community. And in that sense, I've seen in your Facebook profile and in the Facebook page, we're also looking at the pictures while we are talking, that you get to know to some of the local farmers who are helping in launching the business itself. How was the relationship with our professionals of that area?
It's interesting, Vito, because most people here do not speak English, and I do not speak enough Italian yet to communicate properly. Mm-hmm. So some conversations are held via the translator. Some are just guesswork and hand gestures, but slowly, we're getting there. But they have been so patient and so generous, actually, with their time and the efforts they put in to really get this whole business started. Just to have somebody there that says, "Don't plant it there, plant it over here," or "No, don't put your fruit trees there, put them down the bottom." It's just having that knowledge, because they know the land. They're the experts in the land around here. And even today, just planting trees, I've had people from a couple of fields away come over to say hello. What are you doing? Just generally interested and seeing what we were planting. Nobody shook their head and went, shouldn't be doing that there. So fingers crossed that's all okay. But it was lovely that people just turned up. We had 2 guys turn up on horses, because they'd taken them down to the river at the bottom, and they were just interested. So up they came, and again we had that conversation. Thankfully, I had somebody who could speak Italian with me today, so they translated, which made it a bit easier. The language is a barrier at the moment, but it's getting there slowly. I understand more than I can say. So actually, to understand,
it's a beginning.
It's not too bad. I actually do understand a relatively good bit of what they say.
I'm sure that with time your Italian will get better, and you will have more easiness to rely also on other people to run the business within the same area. And in that sense, another existentialist question coming. Among all the places that you visited and the possibilities that you had, why did you choose Cianciana? What's the magic of Cianciana that makes it the most suitable place to launch this project?
Okay, that's quite difficult. We looked at quite a lot of places when we came in November. Went to lots of villages out towards Palermo and all around, and they were beautiful, and the people were nice, and it was all fine. But there was just something missing, and I think I'm going to have to go back to the word of community in Cianciana. There's a little bit of magic in Cianciana, and I'm not sure I can explain it very well, but there's something about the people and how they care for each other, And that is really important for me. That's what I used to do back in the UK. That was my job. That was my passion, was to make sure that people were taken care of. And if they needed an extra hand, you walked with them. And that's kind of what Cianciana does. They walk with you and get you in the right place at the right time. And food will appear from nowhere, and you'll suddenly end up with a box of oranges on the front doorstep and all those kind of things. They're really important, and that was what I got into. It was the people magic. They are, I don't think they realise how spectacular they are, but they are genuinely really beautiful people. And it was also nice to have people that I know. And there's a lot of expats here as well from Canada, from the UK, etc. So it was also nice to hear the occasional English conversation going on. So it's other towns had got other things, but this felt right. And when I went down to the nature reserve, I stood on by the wall and looked out, and I went, I'm really struggling with somewhere to live. If somebody can find me this, then I'll buy it. And then I left and went back to the UK. Not long afterwards, I was looking online and found some land and thought, that looks cool. And then I realised it was exactly what I'd asked for. It was the view that I'd seen from the nature reserve. I am literally 2 fields down. So it was like I'd picked my own place. And with that, I bought the land. It was an absolute no-brainer. I've got the mountains in front of me. I've got a river at the bottom. I've got a river at the side. It's silent, apart from the occasional car that goes down the main road. It was perfect. So Cianciana gave me what I was absolutely searching for, and it just provided it. So it was a no-brainer.
It was your place. You found the place that you were looking for developing yourself, not only your ideas.
Yeah.
And now that you started, that you are in the place and you have bought the property and you are explaining me the ideas, how is being the entire process? I mean, now talking about the operation itself, and viewing it in a more practical and economic way. Is it easy to manage that, or is it somehow difficult? And where are the difficulties in that sense?
Well, there is nothing on the land at the minute. It is literally just it's a hillside. So literally starting from scratch, and to put a house on the ground in an agricultural area is not easy. It really is not easy, because you have to, go through lots of hoops to get there. But again, I've had an absolutely amazing team, particularly the guys down at my house. They've just been amazing to walk me through the process and make sure that all the steps have been covered. And again, it's been slow, but hey, it's Sicily. So we're getting there. Fingers crossed, we'll be putting the house on the ground in the next few weeks. At least start digging the foundations. It's a prefab house, so that's in the process of being built at the moment, and they will literally come up and put it up in about I think it's about 7 days. So the actual house will go up quickly once we start. So we're just waiting for that go ahead. So the process has been slow, and it's complicated, but then I don't need to understand all of it, because I've got a fabulous team behind me doing all the legwork and the phone calls and the chasing up and stuff. So for me, I guess I've been kept quite far back from the process. So I've been quite lucky, really. I think trying to do this just by myself would have been nightmare.
Yeah.
But I've got good people around, so it's getting there. It's just slow, but hopefully in the next couple of weeks the foundations will go down and we'll be off. And then it's a very quick process after that, to be able to actually start everything properly.
In that sense, Claire, you are building up prefabricated houses, right? Which are not so common in Sicily in general. In Southern Europe, it's not so easy even to find them. Even if I have read in several articles that it will be the new trend. How is to build a prefabricated house instead of a concrete one? I mean, it's because at the end you have to choose between wooden and cement. But there are also prefab with bricks houses, right? Is it easy to find suppliers of these houses, or sometimes it seems to me that you have to surf in Google and to choose one by chance?
Yeah, we started with one company, and we got the exact design sorted. Everything was fine, but they weren't in Sicily. They were going to have to travel in, and it kind of all went a little bit wrong, really, for one reason or another. It just wasn't sitting right. But we have found an amazing company actually in Sicily, and again, it's kind of nice to keep it within Sicily, and we're using local people to do the electricity, the plumbing, etc., etc. Again, the house is going to be run on solar and wind power, so that's an added complication because I don't know anything about it, but we'll get there. So everything we're trying to keep definitely within Sicily, but I'm trying to make sure that we're using the local people with the local talents to actually build it. That's really important to me. That again, it's back to that word again. It's community. It's making sure that everybody's local is involved where we can.
I usually say that it's very nice to see the arrivals of people from Northern Europe, such as you yourself, Scott, or all the people who decided to move to Cianciana, because this is a possibility to enrich ourselves by matching the knowledge and the expertise of people with the different mindset, with the different cultural background, with our own identity, with our own richness in Sicily, because up when there was nobody, the two worlds were split, were separated. But now they can engage in a very positive and productive way, so that with new ideas, with new way of thinking about how to manage the reality or the beauties and richnesses that we can have, it can be for the benefit of everyone, not only for the one who is moving. And especially now that with the climate change, with the extreme need that we have to treat better our world, including in a very the beauty of Cianciana or of this part of Sicily is that it's quite unspoiled. It's still preserved. So if we can use this power to create new jobs or to have a better life for each of us who is enjoying this, that would be great. And I'm very thankful that you choose Cianciana to move to Southern Europe, because it is making it really a better place where to live.
I hope so, but it is that blend of cultures. But to move here, I didn't want bring the UK with me. I don't know if I'm explaining that very well, but it's about being in Sicily. It's about me coming into their world and actually soaking up the culture and the people and the festivals and the church bells all day on Sunday, and those kind of things. It's an acceptance of a different culture. It's not for me to come in and impose my background on other people. It's trying to blend them somehow, but to do that, I have to be Sicilian as much as I can, because it's not going to work otherwise. If I just come in and say, this is how we do it in the UK, that's how it's going to work, it's me that will end up with a headache. It's got to be, you've got to go with the Sicilian way of doing things. Otherwise, it would be too stressful and it wouldn't work.
It's true. And on the other side, it's also true that each meeting is made of two parts. So in that sense, even if you come to Sicily, so you absorb the most of the culture that we have here. On the other side, since the time that people from abroad arrived, the Ciancianese people got feeded from the new atmosphere, the new way of thinking, and the most. It's true that there is a linguistic barrier between us because most of the people don't speak English, or the conversation cannot be as much as fluid as we wish. But still, it's a nice possibility that we have. And now, after a few years, this is being empowered and enhanced somehow. And also that in Cianciana there are many people, especially people who run restaurants and some activities with the public front activities, do speak English very well, because they came in the past decades from Canada, from Australia, from UK, and elsewhere. So we are also very international somehow, and it is very, very nice to see how we rely on very well to each other, and it's somehow difficult in that sense. My perspective is that living in Cianciana is somehow different from going to any other place in Sicily, where there are even more tourists than here. It's because we don't treat you as a tourist. We don't treat you as a foreigner. You are just you come to us, and you are part of the community. Of course, you will be the foreigners forever, but still, it's just like from here on, just to build a new way of living. And I have the lucky to live in one of the roads of Cianciana with the highest number of foreigners, and it's like 50-50. Via Mormino, for example, via Palermo are places, are roads full of people from abroad, and it's lovely to see how the houses are renewed with the different style, and it's just a wonderful experience. So we are almost at the end of this streaming. It's been very interesting to chat with you, Claire, about the reality of Cianciana. There are some messages in the live show from Shelley that say hello, and also Paul Black that says it's true, you cannot clap with one hand. It's really true. It's a meeting of two hands in that sense.
Absolutely.
So just before leaving the show, it's already answered this question, but still I like to do it, to give it to you. Which are your plans for future? Will you stay in Cianciana on a stable basis? Will you move from Cianciana to UK? And how is now with the Brexit? Does it change anything for you?
Brexit was a nightmare, but also that was partly why I left anyway. So we'll not do politics today. So it's, yes, I'm staying. The house and the business are my forever. I have no intentions of going back to the UK unless it's to visit family, obviously.
Okay.
I'd rather they came here because it's sunnier. We'll see about that one. So no, I've no plans to move. This is home now, and I wouldn't change it for the world. I really wouldn't.
Very well, very nice. So in that sense, I will be more than happy to meet you in the central road in the piazza of Cianciana, just for a drink whenever we have the chance to travel to Cianciana, because we are really thrilling. We want to go to Cianciana and to enjoy the beauty of this place.
Absolutely.
And thanks a lot, really, to bring with yourself the energy and the brightness of an idea that is taking ground and is settled down in our territory. So I'm sure that it will be a success, and more and more people can come to see what we are talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
It will be lovely when people can travel again. That will be perfect.
Yeah. We have to keep patient for a while. I mean, you are practicing the patience with the bureaucracy, so in that sense, we have to keep patience with the vaccine and the end of the pandemic.
Yeah.
And good thing is that once this is over, we will enjoy even more the life and the good things that we were doing before this 1 year and a half, 2 years that everything is lasting. Okay, so we are at the end of our journey, of our chat. So I invite you, if you like, to share this show once it's available on Facebook or in YouTube. So I say you arrivederci, and see you next time here in Cianciana Piazza Virtuale.
All right. Thank you. Ciao.
Thanks for coming. Bye bye. Ciao.
Ciao.